Okay, so we should be live on this one.
All right.
And I'm going to delete the other one, delete forever.
Amazing.
Okay, and now we're live now. And I said, Matt and Ryan, hasu a chat.
Oh, perfect.
Have hasu, yes.
Hasu? I swear
Hasu.
I've heard of Hasu before.
Hasu,
It's a
yes.
lotus flower. Lotus flower. All right, you want to hear a story?
I do.
Okay, you know I love ZFS or ZFS, as
I do.
the Americans may say.
Mm-hmm.
I decided when I upgraded Cursor to 2.0 to test out their Composer 1 model on doing some maintenance tasks on one of my, I won't even say tertiary, it's whatever fourth is, or fifth, like the fifth down from the top.
Okay.
It's really not that important. And I told it to make a new mount point for Docker. I was going to test out Docker on ZFS. I'm sure I've talked about this before, but basically imagine you get a whole bunch of Alpine images and you're on ZFS and you've got dedupe turned on. They have basically like no storage cost, but little to none, and it's really fast as a result. It's pretty cool. And I've been using this for years. It's one of the few things that gets me coming back to Docker, as we talked about a few times. Again, nothing wrong with Docker. I just feel like it's trying to do a lot these days. And what I need to do is very, very small.
Right.
So I was playing around with Docker, and I told, I hate to personify, but in a conversation on the chat line with my model Composer 1, I said, hey, make a new mount point within this ZFS pool. We're going to put Docker on there, and then we'll configure the storage driver, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm trying to do more, should we say, like DevOps admin kind of tasks with models now. And listen, forgive me, but I'm doing things like SSHing as root and giving them access to test boxes, but really things you should be concerned about. And in fact, this case, it did have sudo access and was logged in as root. And instead of creating a new mount point, decided to make a new pool. And I caught it, but I wasn't smart enough to really catch the problem. So it made a new pool with one disk. And a pool with one disk isn't the best. It's not very redundant. And I said, oh, you should probably make this RAID Z or RAID Z, something with a little bit more redundancy, without thinking, wait a second, you're not supposed to be making a pool. You're supposed to be making a mount point. And it said, yeah, no problem. I'll use 4 disks. And I had 6. Now, it was a RAID Z cluster, so I could lose, I think it's 1 disk, and I didn't have any spares. No, 2 disks. I could lose 2. In an array of 4 with RAID Z, I could lose 2. It took 4 of those disks, so I was in an unrecoverable state. Again, this is a NAS. It's not that important. It's on my network, but it's got copies of copies. It's mostly got photos on it, if I'm honest. And it was going back to, I think this one stopped in 2012. So ancient.
Yeah.
In terms of this, ancient photos, a lot of iPhone photos, that kind of stuff. Important for sure, but like also I got copies of it, not the end of the world. So it made a 1.5 gigabyte volume, I think, across 4 8 terabyte disks, which is a little bit different in size. And it did not use, luckily, the entire disk. It just used like a little portion, essentially. So imagine the disk has something like there's an MBR, so a boot record or a boot block. There's a header and a label on your disk. The label will tell it like what it can be used by, what array it might involve in. All this is gone. So the top of the disk is wiped. And it's not just wiped, but it's wiped with incorrect, or correct if you want to put Docker on there, volume. So it's just a complete mess. So 4 of the disks in the array are gone. And I was trying not to, because sometimes I get a little bit ragey when I'm dealing with LLMs. And I don't know why. Because again, you're not supposed to personify the model, but I was a little bit angry. I calmed down a little bit and I said, hey, I think we were supposed to be making a mount point, not a volume. There's a big difference there. What can we do? What can be repaired? And it said, like, basically your array is gone. You've lost all your data. There's nothing you can do. And I thought, well, I mean, I used to deal in data recovery, and if I were a manager of a data recovery team, and I've been in that position, that this is what I would tell people. I'd be like, oh, you know, like you can explore the blocks. Maybe there's some data in there that you can still salvage, even though you might need to redo the disk labels and a few other things. Is there anything? Because chances are you probably haven't rewritten that disk. And the model, I swap models. I got to be honest here. I swapped from Composer 1 to Sonnet 4.5. Just I figure I was in the wrong gear, so I changed models, and I said like, hey, can we redo the labels or like the boot record, what can we do? And they're fairly complicated actually, and I don't think a tool exists, and I'm still trying to find out where it put the tool. I think you put it in /them, but it made a tool to make the NV tables for the top of the disk, which is fairly complicated actually. Having gone through some of the code that it was doing, I was like, oh, this is like, I would not have been able to figure this out. Like I knew in terms of like the basics, how the disks work and how we could reassemble them, because it will do a scrub once you fix the labels and put them back in the array, and it'll find out if anything's gone. But I had no idea how to like redo the boot record basically in this like binary format that need to be compiled. It reverse engineered the format, made a tool for it, wrote the disk based on the two that I had. They weren't right, but they were right enough that ZFS could like fix the problems and then start essentially eating away at the rate or chewing away at this problem to figure out if there's some meat there. It lasted 20 hours, but all the files were there.
Wow.
And that's good actually for a 6-drive array in ZFS. And I was using shingle disks that I had shucked, so cheap, like $100 hard drives. That's actually really, really fast. It lost 50 gigabytes of data. I lost. I was driving the self-driving car at the time. So I lost 50 gigabytes of data, but they were files that I could easily migrate over. All this to say, on one hand, I think everyone knows, don't give root access to your LLM models. It's a bad idea, unless it's a VM or data that you don't need, closed network, et cetera, et cetera. I'm slowly starting to cordon things off and sandbox them. But I don't know, maybe I was feeling lucky. So I guess the moral of the story is, one, be cautious, double check, make sure you see what's happening, because I do generally watch the agents really closely. Somehow I missed that one line where it ran like the create, and I didn't actually see it happen, and I missed it. The other is that in troubleshooting scenarios where you need to like create a quick tool to fix something, this is like a superpower in the data recovery space. This is a superpower. If you can look through tables and tables of data and not just make the changes bit by bit, but also double check the changes. This is where humans really fail, unfortunately. This is where I, like 10 hours into a data recovery job, would be really bored and probably hit the wrong thing and get it busted. But long story short, LLMs both destroyed my ZFS array and helped me repair my ZFS array. So this is it's terrible Cursor 2.0 story. I'm so sorry, but I was trying to test Cursor 2.0, and I do think it's cool. It's still not as cool as Cloud Code, but I feel like the sub agents are actually really powerful. Composer 1, at least as far as I was doing for like ZFS, C, Unix kind of stuff, the corpus is probably not there. I will say though, for when you're looking at things like just command line, bash scripts, Python, it's pretty good. It's just not as fast. It's the thing. It's cheap, but it's not as fast as Sonnet 4.5. Anyway, that's my story. I don't know if this is a lightning talk or what, but here we are.
It's interesting. I just saw yesterday. So I need to make a note of this as my topics. Having a
topics today. This is great.
Obsidian. Okay.
Obsidian, mechanical keyboards.
So
I love Python.
So yesterday, I think I watched a video. It was like a interview. Three people that are normally on this podcast interviewing a fourth person.
Okay.
That fourth person being Primeagen.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And
I haven't seen this video.
It's some
I do
podcast called Lemonade Stand or something like that. I don't know what.
Oh.
I'd never heard of it before, but but one of the questions was about what is the impact of AI and LLMs on on the world, and Primeagen. What's his? Say you have a real name? Anyway, whatever that dude's name is, says, it's terrible for companies who are, trying to, they can come up with an answer right now, but they've learned nothing from that. And now if they want to go further, now they're reliant on that model to go further, and because they don't know it. They don't know what just got built. And you can read it. You can always read, but you're always going to be better if you're actually doing it yourself. And so it might replace the lower end programmers, but it's a tool to get quickly through something for that high. And so maybe they don't have a good place in in corporate kind of uses. But
Right.
for hobbyists, it is amazing. Now you don't have to learn about these really complicated topics. If you just want to spin up a home lab with and you don't want to know about all the details of VLANs. You just want to get this one. You just want to have your light sensor separate from your and you want to know the details. You just want to get it done. So that for that kind of use case, it's amazing. But for so many other things, it's got some real problems in that people are
Right.
not learning. So I
Right.
thought that was one useful or one interesting thing from that.
He also, Primogen, I won't mention his real name, having just looked it up because I feel like he might be trying to hide it.
Oh yeah.
It's on Google, but yeah, I feel like he's got like a nom de plume, like a fake name for a reason. So we'll leave that there.
Okay.
But Prime also did an interview with Mitchell Hashimoto,
Okay.
the creator of Laravel, and someone else, just about open source.
I thought you
The
were
thing is,
saying
like,
Michio Hashimoto created Laravel. I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, I'm pretty good at flame baiting, but like this is not the war that I want to start here. They were talking about, is open source dead? And I've only watched about half of this. It was on the stand up, which is pretty good. Would recommend. And they were talking about this one training video, funnily enough. You may have heard of this. I think it was a TypeScript training video, but basically they recommended in an intro on how to use GitHub is to go to this TypeScript repo, open up a PR on the README and just write your name and then submit it. And this is how you use GitHub. And unfortunately, what's happened in the many years that have passed since, like every day, multiple times a day, people will go into that repo. I think it was Next.js, one of the JavaScript repos, or other repos, assuming that you can do this everywhere.
Oh my God.
Just creating like PRs that are just their name or linking to the video or talking about the video. It's all over the place. And they were just talking about some of the things around open source that can be causes of chagrin,
Right.
for example. So Mitchell was talking a little bit about some of his experience in the past there as well. But would recommend it. I feel like the Prime honestly has pretty good content. I'm not sure if he's the best engineer, and he's pretty
Right.
bad at reading things. Like I'm straight up, like if he's reading something and giving a reaction to it, watching him read it on screen has got to be the most annoying thing possible. You know how some of those streamers will like read the story with you,
Yeah.
and it's entertaining. Like how
Yeah.
your mom or your dad would read you a story, or maybe like
Right.
a grandparent or have it. He is the worst. I think he's got children, so like you've got an audience to practice on. You need to get better at like reading, reading and speaking. At any rate, pretty good content out there. It feels like there's a new, I don't know, like a new class of creators. There's like that Mount Williams guy. There's the Prime. There's the Theo, Fireship we talk about. But there's a new type of video that's honestly pretty technical and like actually about our stuff, which has never
Right.
been the thing. I say ours, like the DevOps community, the back end, front end engineer community. There's never really been good, entertaining videos with a good personality, as well as educational at the same time. And yeah, man, I'm sorry, I'm looping you into this, but like that actual cool personality with authenticity with the technical stuff. Don't let your ego get too out of whack here.
I mean,
But, like,
no, I mean, I would
this
say
class of creator
like
is awesome.
folks like Network Chuck have been and Techno Tim have been around for a while.
I don't think either of those are authentic podcasters. Podcasters, personally, I think they're inauthentic. Actually,
what does that inauthentic mean in that context? What do you mean?
they're like they're putting on a mask, and like the Prime is probably a mask too. But like
Oh,
he's
yeah.
so bad at acting that it's
Yeah.
obvious. It's just you, buddy. Like you can name. It's like he's not Mr. Beast or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's you. You got a fake
Yeah.
name for reasons, whatever. Same as Theo. Like Theo's. Unfortunately, it's him. He'll swear sometimes because he gets
Right.
angry. Like you can pretend to be all fancy,
Yeah.
but like that's the person. And Matt similarly. Unfortunately, you're Matt. On your
Yeah.
videos, you're just you.
Yeah.
But it feels like a lot of time Network Chuck or maybe to a lesser extent Techno Tim are trying to be like that orator, that speaker, that teacher,
Yep.
as opposed to like, yeah, I'm in this with you as well. I have no idea what's going on. Here's what broke.
Right.
I think Network Chuck has gotten better. I
Yeah.
do watch all of these YouTubers. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I watch a lot of YouTube.
Right.
I want to say for work, it's handy for work, but it's not necessarily work.
Uh,
But yes,
If you go into YouTube, into history, there's an option to turn off history, but there's also an option to download your. The benefit of turning it
Oh.
off is that you don't have like the main page. You just go in and you search for videos, and it doesn't it can't create that page, which is interesting.
Oh, okay.
I'm too scared
Hmm.
of doing it. Um,
Same.
but
I use the history a lot.
then you can download your history,
I see that.
and so you can see how many videos you've watched since you created your account. And it took a while to generate my list, like a few hours, and then I got the fact that I have watched about 55,000 videos on YouTube.
I, I mean, that's somewhat important. But let's 55,000, right? Let's assume they're 3
55,000.
minutes long. Let's assume they're three
Yeah,
minutes long. So 150,000 minutes.
yeah.
This is where I definitely like. This is like Google Brain, right? Like LLM, please solve this for days. I feel like this has got to be months, not
Yeah.
years. You
So
spend months
so
of your life
150,000 divided by
minutes.
minutes,
Yeah, so 60.
divided by 60 is
Right?
2,500
And then
hours.
and
100
100 hours.
divided by
100
24,
days.
100
100
days.
days, 3 months. 3 months and a week
3
and a day.
months of
Wow.
nonstop watching YouTube,
It sounds
which
like
doesn't
prison.
seem
I
that
guess
bad.
COVID just happened. Yeah.
I mean, that's in fact my channel. I just got the email from YouTube apparently sends out an email saying, "Hey, your channel is this number of days old or number of years old,"
Oh,
and so I've been on YouTube for 18 years now.
holy moly. That's like the start of YouTube, is it not?
No, I think there were earlier ones. I think like
Okay.
what's
Wow.
his name? DeFranco has created before that.
Wow.
But yeah, it's a long time.
That is a long time. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who's the guy with the funny glasses that have paint on them, salt on them. Because he's been on there almost 20 years as well. He's like who's that streamer who would do like his own day in the life? He had a one wheel, New York, Casey Neistat.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sorry, this is how I think of people.
Salt
By
on
the
it.
way,
Oh, I guess you could say it's white paint. Yeah.
no, I think it's salt. I think it's from being out in the salt flats, and he just sort of
No,
like left it there. It is
no,
paint.
it's a paint. I
Oh,
mean,
oh,
he
right.
tapes
Sorry,
over
I
the
remember
glass
the story.
because there's like a
Yeah,
video where he shows how to create it.
because it happened in the salt flats. He liked the look, and then painted over
Yeah,
them and did the next one. Yeah. Now I remember.
yeah,
The weirdest things you remember, but yes, this is how I remember Casey. But it does, like, Casey's a great example because Casey's Casey. Casey's not
right.
inauthentic. He's Casey. But it feels like that new era of creator, the authentic
Hmm.
creator. Plus, we're getting deeper and deeper into niches. It's not just computing. It's not like the IBM videos, the Microsoft videos. Love them. Don't get me wrong. The Red Hat videos, all those sort of very stuffy videos
Hmm.
are now being mixed with the personalities for people working
Yeah.
for them or working on these projects. And it feels like it's way more, for me at least, a lot more approachable to
Mm.
watch a complicated video with a real person narrating
Right.
about their
Right.
problems and what they've done with it. Anyway, just
Yeah.
that's where I think we are on the YouTubes.
I think it's not. Um, it's sometimes a bit hard to make the videos because they all take. I mean, they take a lot of knowledge and then a lot of time to put them together. So
Yeah.
there are definitely a lot of advice out there to like create like multiple videos, 3 videos a week or 2 videos a week or some
Right.
like. I mean, even though I have no real job, that's hard.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
at least Prime does a lot more on Twitch, and then
yeah.
we'll do like recaps
Right.
is what you'll actually see.
Yeah.
Though I will say, because I know there was a Laravel joke in there before. I think Prime actually spoke at Laracon this year.
Okay.
In fact,
No, it wasn't a
unironically,
joke. You were suggesting that like the way like that I made me think of that book Eat Shoots and Leaves where the comma is
yeah,
misplaced.
the comma is missing. I love
And
that.
so Mitchell Hashimoto and the creator of Laravel, it's like I didn't realize there was a comma between them, or
As
rather
well
they
as
colon.
yeah.
Mitchell Hashimoto colon the creator of Laravel.
No,
No.
don't get me in trouble.
Yeah.
But it does feel like
Yeah.
Mitchell's another great example of somebody who will very much talk about the reasons why he created things like Ghosty
Right.
and
Right.
how Ghosty's. I don't know if you're using Ghosty. I have been actually. It's
I have
it's
been.
faster than iTerm, which is Weird.
Yeah, and I mean, but you SSH into anything and it says, "Oh, bad terminal," or whatever, and you have to send your terminal, your term info file up to it and to get that
Yes.
gone.
Yes. Or if you
Mm,
run Tmux with it, it can also become
yeah,
problematic for two different reasons, and both of them I think are
yeah.
term. I've been exporting Xterm 256 colors when I SSH to stuff. As part of like
Mm.
the preamble, that might fix it for you as well, because I was
Oh,
having the
really?
same
So
issue.
it's just one something in the command line, or it's like in the
It's an
SSH
environmental
config file?
variable. Yeah, it passes it along when you SSH in, is my understanding, because that's how it knows that you're in Ghosty.
So what's that?
But I think it's called xterm equals is the environmental variable,
Equals. And you put in like
and 256 hyphen colors without a U because Americans can't spell. It's
correctly?
very odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't spell correctly. Correct. Yeah.
Well, that brings me to a different
Oh
topic.
shit. So
Another
hi
one of the
guys.
things I wrote down. That's why I wrote down Obsidian.
Fair
Um,
enough.
so, in the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks,
Hmm.
there have been a lot of there's a lot of tools that will embed YouTube videos in their application, like a lot of note taking tools. Like I use a plugin in Obsidian that will let me um, show on the top half of the screen show a video, and the bottom half of the screen I can type notes about that video and pause as I'm typing, pause the video and continue. Which is really really cool. But about 2 or 3 weeks ago, it broke, and everything it just broke.
Ah, that sucks.
And it didn't just break in Obsidian; it broke in Logseek and in all these other tools, all these other note taking tools, and a lot of other things that embed YouTube videos. All broke at the same time. It's like,
All this because Americans can't type neither.
well, hold on. So for a while, it seemed like you could change the youtube.com URL to youtube-nocookies.com, which
Okay.
also works, but then that also stopped working. And then there was also like removing the cookies and having it restart, and that kind of worked for a little bit for some people for a little while, but now it's like broken for everyone. And
Hmm.
what's happened is that YouTube has changed the like requires the request to have to meet certain criteria. Like there's something about well, there's a number of headers that need to be there, and one of them is the referrer header. And the
Right. I was
referrer
assuming
doesn't
client name.
it
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
really. I mean, you could put anything you want in referrer,
Right.
but it's just a consistent value that gets sent to the YouTube API. Um, and the problem is that Obsidian and most other tools, probably because they were reading the same documentation, all have referrer spelled correctly. But the standard for the referrer header is spelled incorrectly. And so YouTube
I.
has demanded or has said that you should spell it the standard way, which is the incorrect way, which is the
Right.
correct way.
Right. I'm
So
sure I've come across this before. Like it's not referee. What are you
it's
guys trying to
it's
spell?
it's so people will spell it REFERRER,
Yeah,
which is
the
correct.
correct way. Yeah.
But the standard for the header is REFERER. And so it broke. And so there's not an update for Obsidian yet, but if you're using any sort of proxy tool, so I
Hmm.
use Proxyman, but there's also
Hmm.
Charles Proxy and Surge and a bunch of these others, which will allow you to, for a specific application or to a specific URL, automatically rewrite the headers before they leave your machine. And so I just rewrote that header to, if you see referrer with spelled correctly, spell it incorrectly, and send that off, and it works perfectly. It's like, boom,
Oh,
everything came back on.
this
Um,
this is so bad though. It's just like slop on top of. Just,
yeah, it's like the
ah.
the when you is it Telnet or SMTP where it responds with hello with one L.
Yeah. There's Alo and Hello. Yep.
Mm, mm-hmm. Hmm.
Yes. I think if you say hello, it will say ALO,
Hmm.
EEHLO. And yes, it's
Hmm.
SMTP.
Yeah.
And you can telnet to the SMTP port
Right.
to
Right.
do this test. Yes. Yes, that and other arcane knowledge are still trapped in my brain. I wish I could push them out so I could fit more stuff in there,
Yeah.
but here we are. I think LLMs are just learning all the things for me, and my brain's like, why should I learn this? I got something I can reach for. Do you feel a bit of brain rot? I feel like I do now when I go to think about coding or algorithms. It's like,
Okay.
I mean, I could solve this pretty quickly. It's like,
Right.
does my brain know how to do it, or does my mind know how to type in a question to ChatGPT? It feels like
Hmm. Well,
that's where I'm at
I've
now.
always. I mean, I know um, Elon and Jeremy were always frustrated at me
Hmm.
because I mean it's pretty standard for everybody to think, if you can do something, if it takes you 10 hours to do something, and when you come up with an estimate, it's like, oh, I can do that in 4 hours, no problem. And it's like, no, you can't.
Yeah, but I
So
can
I
give you an
mean,
estimate that's incorrect
yeah,
very easily. Yeah,
incorrect.
estimates are
Yeah,
hard. Yeah, I
yeah,
used to double the T-shirt size all the time. I know that's not
yeah.
the right way to do things, but the problem I would have is that there's this is a Rumsfeldian quote, I think, but unknown unknowns. Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what I didn't know going into a project. So what I would often do is like time box a 3 or 4 hour fact finding
Mm-hmm.
mission where I could then estimate properly. But estimation is difficult. I wouldn't
Was he the one
necessarily.
who passed away today? Rumsfeld? No, it was Cheney. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
Hmm.
unrelated.
Yeah. I'm trying to
I think
think.
it was.
Halliburton, is that Cheney's company? I think is
Oh yeah.
na- named after a place in New Brunswick.
Oh really?
Is why I
Not
know
named
this.
after the luggage.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, it is. In fact,
interesting.
it's he was the CEO of Halliburton.
Okay.
I think it was like a hunting lodge or something like that in New Brunswick.
Hmm.
Again, random fact stuck in my
Yeah,
brain. Do
random.
not need to know this.
So at the beginning, you mentioned how repairing that ZFS volume. I mean, it took 20 hours because.
Yes,
So
it just does.
as you were saying that, it reminded me of when I first real job, like real job. I mean, yeah, sure, I worked at a camera shop in high school, but that I don't count that as a real job.
Hmm.
Real job was doing first tech support and then IT at a software company called PC Docs down in Tallahassee, Florida.
Hmm.
And while I was there, pretty early on, I was updating one of the NetWare servers. Um, and so with that, you're working with NLMs you're
Hmm.
loading up these network NLMs that do different things, and it's really just a file server.
Right.
And it was amazing at the time. And we had a few Mac users, and somebody had asked, well, can we add the Mac file system to that volume?
All right.
And I said, sure, no problem. So I added
Oh
it.
no.
And then my boss sees I have added it. I says, well, what did you do that? Why did you do that? We got to remove that. Okay, well, it took like 30 seconds less than that, 5 seconds to turn it on. So I'll just turn it
Oh
off.
no.
So I turn it off. And so now it goes through turning on, easy. Turning it
Hmm.
off, you get an error message popping up for every single file that's on the file system because it's removing that property that somehow it added like instantaneously, but
Right.
removing causes an error message that gets sent to a few people, and so they're all asking me what is going on, and I
What
don't
are these error messages?
I don't know and so I was pretty early on in my first job thinking I'd already gotten fired.
All right. Right.
And
That sinking
I
feeling.
survived. But yeah, that was traumatic. I think it ended up taking about 3 or 4 days to
Wow.
get rid of the Mac file system.
Wow.
So that would have
That is.
been That probably would have been 19,
In the 90s, right? 91?
1990. 90 or 91.
Just netware. Having dealt with, I
Yeah.
did netware at a, like a job shadowing thing at a
Yeah.
hospital. In fact, they still ran netware back in the day, but I think that was 93. So
Mhm.
it was old at the time when I got to it.
Yeah.
But netware was a whole thing. I do feel like that we're getting to the point now where that when you were talking about that file system, the answer system, this is where like, are we gonna have an LLM on the network that you just like
Mm.
ask questions of before you do things? Like, what does the future
Mm.
look like? Because I'm
Yeah.
at the point now where I'm not gonna say I can make a home lab agent, but I'm like
Right.
I'm pretty close to something that can handle most home lab needs.
Hmm.
In fact, like in terms of good advice and what not to do,
Right.
I'm getting pretty close. But it feels like we're at that agentic level or
Hmm.
something where the knowledge is there. It's exciting, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. All right, let's see. I saw a comment come in. My apologies. Oh no. Uh, Regavendra, you and I agree. Matt does not, but fair enough.
Whatever.
Brain rot, yeah. Someone else saying that they've got brain rot. Yeah, I feel like if I have to do what was it the other day? Switch case. So a case statement in Bash. For some reason, my brain couldn't remember. Is it parens or square brackets or like
Hmm.
because there's double of one, but I can't remember which one. It's just awful. And then Sean says, yeah, this sounds like his time working as a network admin at a community college, which definitely, in my experience, ran Novell Netware for quite some time after other people had stopped. I think my first Microsoft exam was proctored on a netware machine, and I was doing like an XP exam. This is how long ago it was. And this is year 2000, and it was still running netware. And I was like, what? How does this even happen?
Well, when I was at Microsoft, and so I was at Microsoft from 99 to 2004, and I was doing state and local government for probably half of that, state and local government sales, where I was a sales engineer. And we would often go to the city of Redmond. So Microsoft is based in Redmond, Washington. Only because, I mean, originally it was started in Bellevue. Well, originally it was started in somewhere in Arizona, but then it's moved to Washington State, and it started in Bellevue. Was going to start in Bellevue, and then they found out the taxes were higher in Bellevue than if they moved like across the street to Redmond, Washington, and their taxes were going to be a lot lower. And so they moved to Redmond. But the city of Redmond hated Microsoft. And so they made sure that everything that they were doing was not Microsoft. And so they were very pro netware at the time, and or Novell. And there were a few cities that were like that. Seattle was better. Bellevue was also a little bit better. But Redmond's like, no, we are not Microsoft. Like, come on.
At that time, what a weird position to have. You also mentioned just briefly that Microsoft started in Arizona. Somehow I didn't know this.
Or
I
Arizona or New Mexico.
Okay, maybe New Mexico sounds a little bit better. But I did think they started in Bellevue, and then I thought they moved to Tacoma, so I didn't know that either.
Tacoma? No, they were never at Tacoma.
Sorry, what did we just say? Not Tacoma.
Redmond, and yeah.
Another city that I drive through in Washington. Yeah, I literally thought they started in Bellevue and then actually physically moved after. But yeah, I had forgotten that they started in New Mexico. It's like Albuquerque or something like that.
Something weird. Something like that. Just because I think that's where one of them was. I was like, let's just start a company.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think that's like having started a company before. I think that's how it kind of works.
Yeah.
I think I drew up a napkin plan. Like I've only started one, but I think I drew up a napkin plan. You know, just the quintessential. Had half a beer, listened to my amazing plan, and the other person's like drinking their full beer. Like I'm not drunk enough to agree with you yet. Like maybe you've got an idea. But the second beer in, I had convinced them and we started a company. But this is my whole experience with it.
Yeah.
But that is a cool history, though, the tax implications in the U.S. It's not even state level taxes. We're talking about municipal taxes at this point.
Because I think by that time they were already bringing in a decent amount.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'm looking at buying a new camera that hasn't released yet. Full disclosure. I
You
think.
just bought a new camera, didn't you?
I didn't buy a flagship camera. That's expensive camera. I
Uh-huh,
did
uh-huh.
just buy
I think a lot of
a
people would think
few
even the
cameras.
Ricoh GR3 is an expensive camera.
It is absolutely an expensive camera for what it is. Yes, I'm looking at the Sony A7R or Alpha
You lost me already.
7R6. Yeah, I know, and it's just such a wonderful camera with such terrible menus, but I still really like it. So I'm trying to sell my older camera,
Hmm.
and just looking through the prices on these things. Old cameras are very expensive now. In
Hmm.
fact, cameras themselves are quite expensive. So
Hmm.
I went looking at BH Photo has this Paybu thing, and
Hmm.
BH Photo can ship to different states. And then I was
Hmm.
like, well, is there a conference in a state where I can grab a camera and
All
claim
right.
it when I come back? But at least I'm away for a week, so the
Right.
duties aren't that bad. What does
Right.
that look like? And I came down to Portland, and I was like, do I need to make
Hmm.
a road trip to Portland to save over $900? Because I think
Right.
what's happening in
Oh
the
yeah.
US right now is that because of tariffs and what have you, a lot of the Sony cameras have heavy discounts on them because the prices
Yeah.
have gone up quite a bit, and they're not affordable anymore. I
Right.
think that the Z8 is almost $6,000,
Wow.
which is a lot. I was looking at that as well, but regardless, so I'm trying to sell the camera. So I was trying to find some prices to plan out this Portland quote unquote heist or what have you.
Right.
And I realized, yeah, some of your states don't have sales tax at
Yeah.
all, but don't seem to have any tax. Is Portland the only one, or are there others?
Well, as in sales tax, um,
Because I thought
Florida.
Seattle also had
Is Florida?
Florida. Okay.
Oh wait, I think I don't know. Now it's been a while
Okay.
since I've been in Florida, but I seem to remember. But maybe there was tax. I don't know.
Like I could fly to Disney World or
Yeah.
something like that. The other part of this equation, which I haven't said, is after flying to Japan and back, I'm really close to hitting like the next level of status, and it's literally like the
Ah.
first level. But it gets me
Okay.
into group two, so I'm like, I could do a trip, I
Right.
could get a
Right.
camera, and then I'll be in group two all next year. Is my
Ah.
big
Yes.
plan. So it can't be like a
Mileage
road
run.
trip. It has to be yes. Is this a term? It's
Yeah.
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 I feel like such a.
Well,
I feel like
you used to be able
the system
to
is
if
dictating my behavior here.
if you know a flight to one place might cost X amount of money. Sometimes it was cheaper to fly to that place via lots of other places. And so you get
Oh,
the really long flight, flying from Seattle to Portland via New York City and Boise and then down to Miami and Texas and back up. And it was like
okay,
cheaper or the same price. And so people would do that for a long time. Would do that. That's no longer possible. But
okay.
um, yeah, just to gain the extra miles because it was often cheaper. It was often cheaper to do that than to the benefit of having that next class meant that something like the first class upgrade was free or whatever it was.
Right. So it's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I do anything for first class up for free, but I would do a lot of things. So
Yeah.
I would certainly go to Portland via New York.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I'm really close. And again, it's just we're talking about Star Alliance, so it's like
Yeah.
the worst of all the mileage programs, and I'm
I
only
don't
getting
know. It
silver.
used to be amazing.
Right. I heard it was, but I can only fly like that's the only
Right.
flight I have that I can
Yeah.
get to New York, and I do go to New York,
Yeah.
twice, 3 times a year, and yeah, I'm happy to be in group two. Actually, I feel like
Yeah.
this would be handy for me.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
it
maybe this
was
is one of those
great
things that I should
being
ask.
it
Yeah.
was great being at a level where you check in like and there's no way you can get to the gate and they'd say, "Don't worry, here's your free first class upgrade and don't worry the plane's being held for you."
Wow. That
That was pretty amazing.
that's never gonna
That's when you
happen to me.
hit I was on United I was 1K, which is means 100,000 flight miles a year. And I was
Wow.
at that
That's
level
a lot of
for
flying.
9 years. So if I
You
fly
must hate planes.
if I fly and if I do another I think it's like 50,000 miles on United, I'm the first or second level for life.
Wow. All right. We need
So,
to get you going to Asia for
yeah, yeah.
something.
That would do it. Yeah.
That is awesome. Okay, I don't think there are any other questions in here, but in terms of shareable things, I think I've talked to you a little bit about some games that have come out that you can play on iPhone, iPad. How do I even say this? It came out on Mac, or is about to come up on Mac, so you can play it. I'm finally playing through the DLC to Cyberpunk. I have beaten this game, I think 7 times, and in terms of like 700 hours is what I've spent inside of this game, roughly, maybe more, maybe 900 hours, like a lot, like a fair amount of history. Not the amount of YouTube playtime that you have.
I was
but, like,
thinking it's kind of up there.
if years pass, we get up there, and I really like. I've played it in multiple languages, et cetera, but I'm now playing it on Switch 2, and it has a DLC called the Phantom Liberty, and I'm finally playing through this.
I don't even know
DLC.
what Cyberpunk looks like. I mean, is it like a first? Are you?
It's first person.
First person. Okay.
Yeah, it's first person. It's similar to the hacking game Watch Dogs, I guess, in that you can remotely hack people using abilities. So kind of like magic. That's your main skill. So if you want to go through the whole
Cyberpunk
game,
2077, 2077.
Yeah, 2077. You got it. Yep.
Oh, now
That
I know
is
this image.
I figured you might. Yeah, so it was one of the worst launches in history. During COVID, it was pretty bad, very buggy, and I actually really liked the buggy game because it was an absolute mess. It was kind of fun. It was like if I made a video game, I couldn't get this close, but I can see where all the problems would lie. It was super fun. You would just like be walking along and fall through the ground sometimes, or like walk through walls, or like doors that were supposed to open you couldn't open, or ones that you weren't supposed to open could. It was a mess. It just wasn't play tested properly. But after a while, what they did was they released an anime, which I can also recommend. And someone was just talking to me about it yesterday. She said she watched it and like was almost crying. I think I cried. It was a pretty good anime series on Netflix. And then they released this DLC to sort of get interest in the game. Again, they released it on Mac, which I think happened 3 or 4 months ago, and then released it on Switch 2, which is where I'm playing it now.
I'm looking through. There's like one character, Reed, who looks a lot like Idris Elba.
Yes.
Is that intentional?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it Idris or Idris? Anyway, he's literally in the game. Okay. Literally in the game. His voice and everything. He's one of the best characters in the whole game. The other is Keanu Reeves is in the game. Some future past rocker boy. It's kind of pretty funny. Yeah. Would recommend the game if you've not played it before.
Okay.
But it is a shooter. You don't have to play it like one, but it's fundamentally a shooter. It's kind of like a looter shooter. You could probably play it on easy and then just hack everything. It's not that hard. The story's pretty good, but I think the world building is amazing. And when
there's not that many shooters on
Mac.
Switch.
There aren't very many on Switch either, correct?
Yeah.
And it plays Switch 2. It plays phenomenally on Switch 2, which pains me to say. I've got a PS5 right beside it. I'm still playing it on Switch 2 just because it's there. But it does run on Mac as well. My understanding is it runs pretty well on like the M4 series and up. So it's not bad. It's a big download though. Like it might be 120 gigs. It's massive. But if you see it on sale, I would recommend it. Again, I've put hundreds of hours into this game, so it should be a glowing recommendation. But at the very least, I think some of the world building. So like imagine it's 2077. What would it look like? And imagine that they created this before LLMs, because there are things in there about AI that I think are fairly prescient for the time, but we're just now thinking about. For example, the highest selling author in this realm is a poet, and the poet is a collection of AIs that writes weird poetry, and some of the poetry is in the game, and I'm assuming that a human wrote it because it was 2019 when they were making it. Well, I guess 2015 to 2019, but at any rate, it definitely would have written the poems, and they're like disturbing and good. Anyway, good story. And it's got different factions that speak different languages and things like that. There's like a Haitian faction, Japanese factions, Japantown. Anyway, totally recommend it. That is my checkout for the week is Cyberpunk 2077.
Is that the dog want to come in? Nope.
What is that noise?
That was a garage door opener.
Oh. It sounded like a bunch of like those metal springs.
I had just learned that if you don't have a garage, do you?
I do not. No.
Do you know? I
I mean,
mean,
I,
but
I
you know
park
what?
in a garage for the building, but I
Yeah.
know of garages. Yes.
So apparently, like when the garage door is closed, you can unscrew the brackets from the door and take it off, and then the wheel and the post is like one piece, and you can
Right.
buy on Amazon like a set of 10 of these wheel post things, which are with better like rollerblade kind of wheels, and
Oh,
put
nice.
those in and then screw it back on and get like their whole door, well, a whole normal door. We've got a super tall door,
Hmm.
but get it done within 15, 20 minutes, and it's so much quieter.
That's
That was
cool.
just,
We've got one back home, and it's super loud.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
of course, it's aging. It's 20, 30
yeah.
years old. Yeah, makes a lot of noise. Plus, the motor itself is. I think motors
Oh,
have
yeah,
gotten a lot better too in terms of
yeah.
noise. I don't know
Oh, we
about
can't
your
hear our
your
motor at
motor.
all.
Oh yeah, we can hear it throughout the whole
Totally
house. It's
silent.
like, yeah. Someone in the
Uh,
chat said they're going to try and make an agent write poetry. I will say, I've made an agent two sides. One, make images and then review the images. And I think if you put like an LLM as a judge in there, you might get some pretty good poetry that would
I
surprise you.
I'd say poetry as well as just stories. I mean, I've that was one thing that I was doing with my daughter, who's now
Right,
about to turn
right, right.
7, and would
Hmm.
say, write a story or write a poem about, and I'd say her name, and it's on Bainbridge Island, and a few other things, and I like, throw in some other weird details she would mention, and then it would come up with like this amazing and like talk about the places on Bainbridge and how you'd walk and even our neighborhood, and it was amazing, amazing. And we did that would be our nightly thing for a good month or 2 months of just coming up with stories based on whatever she wanted to have a story about.
That is so cool. Maybe this is Premagen's problem. He's got the AI reading to his kids. This is
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
It's
So
so
did you do
very
anything for
prevalent.
Halloween? Was Halloween a
I
thing?
did not. I mean, it is a thing.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'll stay home because there's fireworks going on in Vancouver. Maybe, I'm not sure if that's a thing in the U.S. as well, but in Vancouver, a lot of people will set
Mm,
off fireworks for some
okay.
reason on Halloween, and as a result, the dogs are petrified. They seem to
Are
be totally
fireworks
fine.
allowed?
No, definitely not. There's a park in front of our house, and there'll always be like detritus on the ground the
Yeah,
day after. But yeah, no, totally not allowed. There are cops who patrol, but whatever.
yeah,
Also, the street next to us was blocked off, and it became like this big street party,
right.
which is cool. But there are a fair amount of inebriated individuals who could not get home until like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
afterwards, and my neighborhood was very loud.
Wow.
I know you can't see this, but I've got a window like right there onto the street, and it was just yeah, it was loud until 3 4 a.m.
Wow.
But no, I didn't do anything for Halloween. But bah
So
humbug. How about yourself?
so here on Bainbridge, there's no fireworks allowed at all.
Makes sense.
And for most of Kitsap County, which Bainbridge is in, there's no fireworks allowed. I think in most of Seattle as well, there's no fire. So you have to go a long, long, long way away to get to a place where you're allowed to shoot these things off. The bridge that leaves Bainbridge, so you can take the ferry into Seattle, or you can take the bridge, and the
Hmm.
bridge goes into Polsbo. But between like the city of Polsbo and the city of Bainbridge Island, there is the Suquamish Indian Reservation, and they sell fireworks. And
Of
so
course you do.
there are huge amounts of fireworks that you can buy. You can't, and
You
they're
can't light
not,
them,
they're
but you can
illegal
buy them.
to set off on the reservation as well, but they can sell them.
Okay. Right.
And so people buy a huge amount of fireworks and set them off. They're not allowed, but that does happen. But
I've always wanted to try one of those. Yeah, go ahead.
the reason I asked is we had a friend, uh, a friend of mine whose daughter or son and daughter are friends with Stella, and
Hmm.
they had their Halloween party. Now, unfortunately, Halloween was miserably wet. It was raining
Oh,
so hard and
oh.
just awful. But they have this amazing piece of land, and and a little bit of a forest on the edge, and a pathway is like their private pathway through, and they had
Nice.
like skeletons hooked set up in different places,
Yeah.
and poems that they would read, and then the poem would talk about how many pieces of candy they could grab from this bag and that bag and that bag, and it was such a neat way of doing it for
Yeah.
about 20 kids.
That's
Um,
awesome.
but I don't have a specific thing that I have acquired this week. I don't think I have a specific thing that I acquired, but I am totally digging the 3D printer.
Really? That's
Oh
awesome.
my God, it has been so good. Um, and I think there have been things printed like almost every day. And
That's cool.
maybe this will stop after I'll get burned out and I'm not going to do anymore. But like oh, like this for the hydrate water bottle, it has this
Yeah.
little piece that comes out, and then you put the little battery charger on there. So somebody
Hmm.
had created a little cup where you put the battery charger at the bottom of it, and it's
Oh,
lined
so
up.
they're
There's
on
these
top.
holes that are there, and it just kind of clicks in
Yeah.
place, and now it charges. And this thing lights up, so if you're in a dark room, like vroom, vroom,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
vroom, and it hides that as well. So amazing, perfect. Um, I In our garage we have a few panels that are the system called wall control. It's
Okay.
basically like IKEA has I think a Scadis board, and a few other companies. Boards that have these slots on them. Wall control has slots and holes, so
Okay.
accommodate like pegboards.
Hmm.
But people have created models for wall control and all sorts of
Ah.
things. So I found like built these little or printed up these little boxes that mount onto the wall. And I have some that I bought from Wall Control, and originally they're expensive. They're like $4 or $5 per bucket, and then the mounting piece, which is there's only so many things you can mount. It all
Right.
has to be somewhat generic. And so I made that. A couple of gravity hangers for like a rake. So you put it into
Hmm.
this thing and pull down, and it just holds it there. So I have 2 rakes up so far. There's about
Whew.
4 more I need to print. Um, just today, I we had run out of clips for like chips and stuff,
The
and
chip bag clips.
crackers,
That's a
and
good
so
one. Yeah.
I printed up. I found a model that had one. You put it into the Bamboo software, and you say, "I want 6 of them." Go. 6 came out. That took about 35 minutes for 6 of these
That's
things,
pretty cool. Yeah.
and maybe 40 cents worth of filament to print it.
Right.
Um, what else has there been? There's this when the house was built. It's a pretty nice house, and so
Hmm.
there are 2 iPads that are fixed onto the wall
Right.
that
You
are
were talking about the
dashboards,
holder.
and
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
this holder, and
Hmm.
the iPad Mini now, because we had to update it because the old one was
Hmm.
old and not
Hmm.
really able to update. I think they used 2 used ones from they were used 5 years ago, so they're really old enough. And But the iPads have gotten a little bit smaller, and so they don't fit. And so coming up
Right.
with just a little shim that like keeps them in place, um, and I was able to print that up, and I was like, solve that problem. There have been so many. I've created a little like Voronoi whole. Have you ever heard it? Voronoi is a way of like putting holes on some mathematical formula for figuring out the holes.
Hmm.
Voronoi. But a little duck with that kind of pattern. And she loves it. She's playing around with it. I made a bookmark. And I like simple things. And what was the first? Oh, I made a little coat rack for her Dollhouse.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was like she helped design it, and
Dolly
we
toys. Yeah, 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 yeah. Now,
amazing.
are you designing? Is it Blender or are you in SolidWorks? I think are the two that I hear of.
Onshape was the one I've been using,
Onshape.
and
Okay.
Onshape is free if the model you're creating is public,
Okay.
and so you can create as many models as you want. They're public,
That looks
and
cool.
for a while I couldn't seem to get the Fusion 360 or Fusion to work, and
Yeah.
I finally got the license, but I was already learning Onshape. Um, and
Fusion's neat, but you have to pay a subscription, I think, and there's like a
no,
free version, but it
there's
doesn't
a
give you
free
what you want.
version, but then the free version says you only have access to 2D tools, but you seem to have access to 3D tools as well. And oh,
Yeah.
um,
Uh, And did you watch that Kickstarter? Not to get you interested in another 3D printer, but I think the most successful Kickstarter ever just launched yesterday or the day before. But as someone who
oh,
doesn't 3D print, often it didn't sound interesting to me, but it was like not one nozzle, four
was it
color or
like
four spool.
Snapmaker or something?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was
okay,
in
I've
fact
seen the
Snapmaker.
videos. Yeah, or
Yeah.
I've
So
seen
you could
that
do
there
like
are videos. Yeah,
so you could do multiple color
right,
things very easily without
right,
swapping out or having to
right.
reset your model. Did you do the boat? I think the boat's very important,
Yeah,
right?
the Benchy, I think it's called. I have not done the boat.
Okay. That's awesome.
Um,
You're the first person I've heard of who's not used the boat the whole way
the
through. They're like,
the
screw
first
the boat.
one the first one I printed was the scraper. So when you get the printer, you're given a kit of like a razor blade and a few screws, and the model. In fact, the model is on the like in the memory of the printer,
Oh,
and you say print that model, and it prints out this scraper,
like a little
which
specialist scraper?
which just just for like if a model is or if a print is
Oh, just
stuck
sort
on
of
the
stuck
just kind of like wedge
on
under
the
there.
bed. Yeah.
A lot of people complain about it like gouging into the bed itself, which
Hmm.
you can only really do if you use it upside down, because there's like there's this little piece on it which is meant to put your thumb against, but people
Hmm.
think it's more of a leverage place,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah. This is like
you
you're
use it
holding it
wrong,
wrong.
you're gonna
Yeah,
do bad
exactly.
things.
Fair. People are often confused by easy things,
Yes,
unfortunately.
yes. People are confused by
Um,
IKEA build instructions. I think they're the most
or
easy.
Lego.
Yeah.
Yes,
What?
so simple. It's always funny to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, as someone who's maybe more visual, spatial, I like them. I like maps. I like instructions on how to build
Yep.
stuff. I also used to love building Lego without the instruction manual.
Hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah, that's the way it was.
And IKEA kind of feels the same way. It's like
Yeah.
you got four screws and there's four. Like this seems pretty easy. I don't know. My
Yeah.
partner's like, we should look at the manual. Like, I mean, we should,
Um,
but I feel like we're gonna be okay.
yeah.
And often I end up with like an empty like a spare part or something like that.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
look at it. And it's typically like the wall anchor or something like that. I was like,
Right.
I wasn't gonna do that anyway. But yes, we did have
There
one
are
more
s-
comment.
there are so many times
Sorry,
I
go ahead.
have to buy something online, or I mean, if, with most IKEA things, if
Yeah,
you have an IKEA store near you, you go in and there's a wall with all the parts. You just grab however many you want
all the
because you've
spares. Yeah,
lost that screw. But if you're not, I mean, for us, I'd have to take a 45-minute ferry and then drive,
right.
20 minutes, 30 minutes from there. So it's a long way. So, there's been a number of things I've ordered from Amazon because it's just cheaper for me to get. But now
You
I
can
have
just
this,
print them.
I can just print it. Like the clip was an example. Like I need a clip. I could order something and I have it tomorrow, but let me just make it and have it in 30 minutes.
Now, the other thing I have to nerd snipe you with is I know so many people who have gone down the rabbit hole, I guess you could say, about
Yep.
their thumb cluster. I don't know if you've looked at the things that you can print for your keyboards, but ZSA or ZSA, as you might say,
Yes. Yes.
do have a lot of models and mods
Yes.
and
I
fun
have
stuff for
not done
keyboards for
that
sure.
yet. But
Good. That's probably good.
I'd seen the email. There was something in the email just a few days ago. I
Oh,
was like, I need to consider that.
some of them are like dampening holders or like little
Right.
wedges, like mats that
Right.
go underneath the keyboard to make it less noisy.
There
But
have
yeah,
been so many products that offer 3D printed variations or 3D printed accessories that I've just every time I see it, I just like, oh, I don't have a 3D printer, forget about that. And so
Fair
there's
enough.
I need to like go through that list of all those cool things that people have shared with me. It's like, oh, now I got a 3D printer
Right.
as good
Yeah,
as
yeah.
four
Make an
colors,
inventory
and
of the stuff that
let me,
you use all the time.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. This plus 3D printer
yeah.
equals. The other shout out that I'll just put out there is that a while ago, do you remember Waldo? Do you remember Waldo Grunewald?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Sort of.
yeah.
I did it. Okay. He made an integration for Octoprint with Datadog. I'm not sure if Octoprint's what
Oh
you're
okay,
using, but
yeah,
I
no,
thought that was pretty cool. Just to like let you know when your builds are
right,
done or something like that.
right,
I think some of these machines have it built in now, but
yeah,
I think a lot of the people that I talk to use Octoprint to manage their
right.
prints. It just seems like
So
a
the thing with that, I think with
Mhm.
Bamboo, you can't. I think there was a
Oh, interesting.
kerfuffle around the license, and
Oh, shoot.
they basically said you can't. And they locked
Wow.
it down so that you can't use some other slicers. I don't know if that's what Octoprint is. Another person who was involved with Octoprint was Darren Froese. I think it was his name. He was
I
another.
remember Darren. Yeah.
Oh, did you know Darren? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, Canadian. Oh, Canadian. Yeah.
Yep.
Canadian, so you must know each other. Um,
Well, we have a channel for Canadians at
oh
work. I'm
yeah.
not sure if you
Okay.
knew. The Americans
I
are
was never invited, so
sometimes
yeah,
invited. Yeah,
yeah.
just rarely
Um,
invited.
and yeah, so I think he was a major contributor to Octoprint.
Oh, cool. That's
So
awesome. I think Bamboo does support Octoprint, but it's like it
okay.
requires a separate Raspberry Pi in your network or what have you.
Mm,
And some people are just using Home Assistant to do the same thing, which I
hmm.
think you've already got. So maybe that's
Yeah.
there.
Oh, one thing
All
I
right.
did get recently was
Oh,
the voice Home Assistant voice preview edition, whatever, the little box
how
to
is
kind
that?
of eventually replace whatever Alexa. It is okay.
I'm like I don't know if I can see it. Sorry, I suck at this. Right there is an Apple HomePod, the orange thing.
Okay.
I I finally get rid of all the Google
Mm,
things, all the Google whatever Google
yeah.
speakers and the Amazon Alexas, and I just got the Siri.
Yeah.
And the thing that ticks me off the most about it is on my phone I can use ChatGPT. You still can't on that little thing just yet,
Mm.
even though you can
So
call the API and get the answers back on your phone.
so one of the things that's a problem is sometimes you can ask it something to do something, and
Hmm.
it like understands it. It helps if you have the I subscribe to you don't have to pay for Home Assistant, but you can get the
Hmm.
subscription, which gets you remote access and a few other things. And now one of
Right.
the other things is access to some models for speech recognition and speech generation. Um,
Cool.
and I've been paying for it for a number of years. So I just it's just I think I feel like it's a good thing to do. But
It's the right
having
community to
access to
support.
these,
I
yeah.
would agree.
Um, and so it will send that request to and recognize what's said, process it, and generate a response, an audio response. And it tries to send it, but because it, I don't know. Sometimes that whole process takes like a third of a second for the entire like generate an
Which
answer.
is a lot.
It's like super quick,
Yeah.
but it's not responded. Like it needs to device needs to
Mm.
ask for it, and it sometimes waits 20 seconds to ask the next time and grab the response, and then it says it, and then sometimes it like goes, and the answer is, and we wait
Oh.
another 20 seconds. Is that we did whatever the answer is, and so that
Ah.
is frustrating. I think, yeah, but maybe it's just a configuration issue on my side. But it so far it seems pretty cool. One of the neat things is being able to, you have to. It's not like in the UI, but apparently you're able to change the wake word and have multiple wake words. And so maybe
Okay.
you have, I don't know, Cindy, and it will respond in one way. And maybe you
Mm.
ask for Hank. Oh, okay, Hank. And it uses a different model, and maybe you have these different OK Olama, and it will use a model to answer questions about things that are not in Home Assistant, or maybe you just have one and it does all those things. But you could do some interesting things. Maybe there's a model one model that normally does everything, and another one that has access to the outside web, and you have different words for each of those two things. So that's pretty cool.
I think it is. Hey Olama, open Matt Williams' latest video 1,000 times.
That's right. Yeah. And don't make it look like me. Don't make it for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, please use VPNs. So I should probably go. Sorry, I was a little bit late, but also we've gone a little bit over. I'll try to sell the camera today, and I'll let you know if there's ever a 6 release. But I'll pre-order it. I think this is where I'm going to land, unfortunately. But I'm waiting for the new Sony. All right, sir.
Lumix is the way.
S1 II is very, very appealing, as are all the Sigma glass lenses that go on it. Absolutely. I could be swayed. But it's roughly the same cost, FYI. Lumix is 5,500 Canadian.
Okay.
So it's about the same price.
Yeah, seems like Sony is way overpriced.
Yeah, I just need to buy like 10 lenses and all right, sir.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna head out. This was fantastic. Thank you to everyone in the comment section. Sorry we're a little bit late. I got tied up with something else. But next week is Remembrance Day. How to start. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's Veterans Day. And just make sure you know, I'm happy to stream on Monday or Wednesday if you want to, but Tuesday I won't be at home.
Oh.
I'll be remembering.
You'll be remembering? Okay. I'll be veteran.
Well, fair. I mean, I didn't serve in any war, so yes. So I'll try not to.
Oh, yeah, I won't. That's not appropriate. Yeah.
That's what I figured. Yes, I am around. If y'all are around Monday or Wednesday, I can be here for that or later on the week.
Let's skip the week, and we'll go on next week.
Can also do that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, folks. Have a good one.
Sounds good. All right. Bye.